From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, it's Renegade Express, taking all the questions from our valued subscribers on the Warchant.com Tribal Council. Wake Up Warchant, again, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. It is Thursday night. Get your dauber, get your lucky bingo card ready. Can you bring your own bingo card? Can you make your own bingo card, Corey, or is there CP official issued bingo cards you have to use?
You got to go up there and get the ones that they hand out because you pay them money for them.
Oh, so that's how it works.
Yeah,
okay.
You got to pay them money to get your bingo card. Come on, Aslan.
That's the
act
cash
like you played
prize.
bingo before.
So that's how the cash prize starts, huh? Not out of the goodness of Bill's heart, but just redistributing.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, correct. It's redistributing. But yeah, man, $250. How about that?
It's real money.
Can't
we can
beat
use it.
It's real money, right?
Have you started buying any gifts yet for the family? For the people in your life yet? Not yet? You wait till after Thanksgiving, or you a day before Christmas kind of guy?
Yeah, I'm more of a day before Christmas. Although, with this day and age, who goes to a mall anymore? So I'll probably start around December 1st or 2nd. I'll ask Brady what he wants. And that's Brady and Stephanie are really the only people I buy for. So it's not
what
that
about Sharon? Anything Sharon anymore?
No, we don't really do that anymore. By the way, before we get into the Christmas list stuff and before we get to Renegade Express and answer all your questions, I think people want to know, at least Stephanie does, what happened with the Tinder date on Saturday? You moving all along? You advancing?
It was all right. There's some layers to it that I don't want to talk about. There you
go. That's nice.
Not embarrassing or anything, but she's really mean. But she's really smart though, so it's okay. I can live with that. I need someone smart. I can't, I just can't deal with you if you're not really all that smart. But
and mean, I feel like you're probably mean too. So
yeah, exactly. It's all right, cool. I don't have this whole I'm a real sweetheart kind of thing. So I'm not a sweetheart. So that was kind of cool.
Okay.
But she's busy this week, so next week we'll try to do it again, which I think will happen. But if it doesn't, whatever, life goes on. But it was good. It was good to get back out there. It's oh, cool. She's attractive. Oh, cool. She's intelligent. Oh, she's ambitious and doesn't have a whole bunch of other things going on. But there is other thing going on. But I don't want to talk about it. Then it feels
okay. All right. Well, but it's there is a possibility of another one.
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
good. There you go. There you go. That's all we wanted to know.
Yeah,
that's all we
the
wanted
season.
to know.
But she's only 28 though, so tell Steph sorry because I know Steph wants somebody in there.
You're fine if you do the 7-year rule, bud. She makes it, and she's right in there in that window.
I know. Perfect,
just
right?
Divide your age in half and add 7, and she's older than that, so you're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm in there. All right. Did you want to talk about practice at all Wednesday? Anything you like?
Yeah, Greedy Vance had 3 interceptions.
What?
Yeah, well, 2 were in scout team, but they were both pick sixes, which was good to see. And then he had 1 on 7-on-7 when who bobbled it? Russos, I think. Our man Russos, the walk-on, bobbled a pass and handed it back. Hey, Greedy made the play. Yeah. Jarian Jones had a pick. Azaria Thomas had a pick off A.J. Duffy. Jamie Robinson had a pick off. Jamie Robinson was incredible. He had a pick off Rodemaker. Azaria Thomas's was off Duffy, but I think McLean stopped running the route. And these 2 were 11 on 11. And I think McLean stopped running the route kind of like a fade to the end zone, but Azaria stuck with it and made a nice play on the ball. And then Jamie Robinson just undercut the tight end and made a great catch. And then here's the thing that was the most impressive about Jamie Robinson on Wednesday. One-on-ones. Who do you think my man guarded one-on-one in all that space?
Micah Pittman or
Nope.
Ja'Kai?
Ja'Kai. So he did guard Pittman. Pittman got him with a double move right out of the gate. It was a perfectly thrown ball by Rodemaker. Really nice throw on a 40-yard ball down the field that Robinson just missed, but Pittman caught. But then he got Douglas twice, once in one-on-ones, going away from the end zone, and then one from the 5-yard line going to the end zone, and clamped him down both times, deflected the pass both times, cut in front of him both times. Jamie Robinson's a pretty special guy, man. That was those to me were the most impressive. Greedy Vance making plays, and then Jamie Robinson looking like that in practice. But the receivers made some plays too. Johnny Wilson caught a couple touchdowns on one-on-ones, beat Duke Cooper on both. But are you really beating them it's just Johnny Wilson being good. I mean, it's not like Cooper did anything wrong necessarily. It was just the balls were thrown high by Rodemaker and Duffy, and he caught it. And then anybody else stand out? Pokey made a great catch. Portier made a couple nice catches and then dropped one that Norvell let him hear about. Kind of didn't have a great effort on it. But overall, man, it seemed like a good practice. Jared Verse and Fabian Lovett both looked good in the work they did. Jared Verse just blew up a play in 11-on-11. Like, literally, it was like an insta-sack. As soon as the ball was snapped, didn't know where to go. It just, he was tapped. So yeah, man, it was normal good practice, seemed like.
Saw Fabian coming out of the moor earlier in the week with like house shoes on and like nothing on his lower legs. So I can share that. I wasn't seen at practice. That was just me being a human being, being a citizen journalist.
There you go. Yeah.
So
well,
he's probably close to 100%.
He was not in house shoes. He was not in house shoes on Wednesday.
Guys missed practice with illness. Apparently, the Buffalo Bills are dealing with this. Jimbo dealt with it a few weeks ago. I guess it's the new normal. I guess like flus go around football teams now. Let's start taking our vitamin C and our zinc. But the good news is that Mike Norvell did say after practice he doesn't anticipate anybody not being available for Saturday's game. So
yeah, good to get that hit. Good to have that hit you if it's going to hit you Tuesday. Hopefully Tuesday-ish
of
late
Louisiana.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah,
Louisiana.
On the Louisiana week. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that said, let's get to the Renegade Express. All these questions come from our valued subscribers over on warchant.com. You, too, can be a valued subscriber for only $10 American for an entire year of that title, valued subscriber. Why not? What else are you doing with $10, everybody? Thumbs up, too. Don't forget. That'd be kind of cool. A little bit of, I guess, requests. Let's get to the requests first here. Maui Wowie, wake up. If FSU goes 10-3 this year, will we get to see Corey pour another bottle of champagne on his head? This would bring tons of joy to the followers of Warchant. Thanks, fellas, for the amazing content. Go Noles.
I would say there's a chance there's probably a pretty good chance if they win out the regular season, while maybe I'll be pouring something on me as Jeff and Tom are doing keg stands.
And Ira's funneling
two beers. Yeah. They're doing keg stands. I feel like I've got to pour something on me. So I'll be doing that while they're all doing, and that'll be at Corner Pocket the Saturday after the game. So we're gonna try to have a live show like we talked about with Tom, a live show that Saturday morning-ish, like late morning, 11:30, right, going right into the rivalry games, and we'll be there pouring stuff on ourselves.
The Saturday.
So yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for the fans, right? Okay. I'll do that for the fans.
All right. Our guy Kyle on the internet, known as Get Down or Lay Down, on the Friday pregame show, can we get Corey and Jeff to eat a Pocky Carolina Reaper Madness tortilla chip to show the Raging Cajuns we aren't scared of them or their spicy food diet? Corey can get a pass due to his gallbladder, but he should get Jeff to partake.
I was going to say, well, I don't have a gallbladder anymore, so I'm all set. I don't need a pass. Like, that thing's out. But no, I'm not doing that. That doesn't sound enjoyable at all. I've seen people's reactions eating that, and I just was like, okay, what am I doing this for? I'm not 19. I saw a 50-year-old man do that, and I'm like, what are you doing to yourself? What are you trying to prove? So no, I will not partake in really spicy foods. Just life's too short. Life's too short to torture yourself like that. All right. You could though, Aslan. Why don't you stop by and eat something hot?
I actually have the chip from last year on my kitchen island, but just for show. I would not eat it. I hate spicy food.
Yeah,
not
me
a fan
too.
of it. I don't enjoy it. You people are weird.
It's fun to watch me sweat. And when I had COVID, I think I told this story. I can't remember. I had COVID, and I couldn't taste anything. So I went over to Tom's house, and he had like this crazy hot 1 million Scoville hot sauce with ghost peppers and everything in it. Yeah. And I dipped my finger. They put it on a plate, and I dipped my finger in it and just sucked off my finger. And I couldn't taste it, but my head started sweating, and then I got the hiccups. Yeah, that's how crazy. That was my body's reaction to something I couldn't even taste. So I can't even imagine what I would have done if I could have tasted it. I'd still be probably in their driveway puking.
Let's start out with Cajun Nole. Good morning, y'all. Long-time listener. First time asking a question. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. Famous people include Jake Delhomme, Dustin Poirier, and myself.
Oh, there you go. Jake Delhomme, by the way. Get it right, Aslan. Okay. Former Super Bowl quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
And Dustin Poirier. I was going to say Lafayette, I meant to say Lafayette and butcher it all, but shout out to our folks down in the Bayou. Question: who's your favorite player or players that have played for FSU that have come from the state of Louisiana outside of Warrick Dunn? Kyle Myers? Big Kyle Myers guy.
Kyle Myers, yeah, he had a nice finish to his career. Travis Minor is the one that comes right to mind, but he went to the same high school as Dunn and played the same position. Is there who else is from Louisiana that was
Greedy
awesome?
Vance? Greedy Vance.
You're right. Destin Hill. Once he shows up,
Too soon. Jakai's a guy from Louisiana.
Yeah.
He can be one of your favorites.
Right now, it's Travis Minor. I'll keep thinking because Talman Gardner, I think, is from Louisiana too.
Correct. He is. You're right.
But he doesn't eclipse Travis Minor. I feel like there's some defensive players. I mean, they did pretty well in Louisiana there for a while when they had it rolling. But right now, I'm just struggling to think of one. But I will. We'll come back. Well, nothing's wrong with Travis Minor. That's a very good answer. So I'm going to stick with Travis Minor.
I almost said David Warren, but he's from Texas.
He's from Texas. Yeah, you're close. It's right there, right?
Yeah, it's right there. But yeah, it's work done. Stop asking these questions like, what's your favorite holiday, but you can't say Christmas or Thanksgiving. I don't know.
It's a valued subscriber. Don't tell him how to ask questions.
Sam MH. Wake up. Sadly, I'm looking past this week's opponent. What can I say? I want to sweep the rivals. What do we have to do to beat the Gators? Show up, don't press.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good answer, Aslan. Yeah. Don't press. Don't make it more than it is. It's a huge game, but don't succumb to like the pressure of it all. Just play how you've been playing, and you'll be fine. You'll beat them. They're not as good as you if you play the way you can. So just go out there, and I know obviously it's going to feel different than the Louisiana game or at Syracuse, but man, they handled business so well at Miami. And it's going to be a very similar type atmosphere, although obviously more people will be cheering for you. Just go have that exact same mindset going in that game, and you could win comfortably if you play well. Just don't make it more than what it is. You're a good football team. You're better than them. Go prove it.
Yeah. And not to gloss over it, it's a Gators. It's a big deal. But you know how we roll here. We're 1 week at a time.
Exactly right. We're Louisiana. We're still stuck on what'd you say, Lafayette?
Yeah.
We're still stuck on Lafayette, Louisiana.
All right, this is going to be, I guess, the recruiting portion of the program.
Sweet. All right, that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah. So bear with us here as we try to go through it. Nole for life, class of 2007. Wake up. Since Aslan's best friend for life, Jimbo Fisher, is looking like he's going to run another program into the ground, let's go grocery shopping. Looking at their roster, what player would you covet most if they hit the portal? I looked at it briefly, and everybody they have that I like is pretty much like a junior. So they're going to leave. They're not going to go anywhere.
What about the all-time freshman class he just brought in?
Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything all that great right now. That's the problem.
He doesn't play freshmen that much. Like, they've got to be very talented. I would take whoever. Didn't they have like 5 defensive linemen that were 5 stars? I'll take 3 of them. Okay. I don't know. Hey, I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be a greedy Vance over here. I don't need all 5. I just want 2 or 3 of them. But yeah, I would make a run at. You'd want any of those defensive linemen.
All right. Walter Nolan. We'll take Walter
and
Nolan.
The kid, the wide receiver that tell him you'll allow him to wear sleeves. Sleeves are allowed in Tallahassee.
Walter Nolan. He's a 6'4", 320-pound interior defensive lineman. That's
okay.
He's graded out at 66, which is it's good. I would take Smoke Bowie just because of the name Smoke Bowie. That's a strong name.
I was thinking, I guess I can't say this now because Florida State, I just talked about a guy named Greedy. But, man, the SEC teams, and especially like Auburn, they always seem to have a guy named Smoke or Tank.
Right.
Just one of those cool nicknames, man. And Florida State, I know they had Tank Carradine, but that was a decade ago. Like, they don't have the really cool nicknames that that some of these SEC schools have. So, yeah, man, I would take a Smoke any day of the week. What is he? What position does he play?
Defensive back.
Of course. Yeah. It'd be weird if he was a D end.
We'll take Shamar Stewart, although I don't know. I don't see him up. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, not great.
Hey man, what did go back and look at what Trey Benson graded out last year.
Yeah,
You can't use PFF as any gauge of anything when they're freshmen. Just if they were talented enough to be top 20 in the country, you'll take them.
Take a chance on them.
Yep.
And then Lebius. He's from Milton, Alpharetta. Lebius Overton. We'll take him as well.
Georgia kid then.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Shamar Stewart's from Opelika, so we'll get some of that 305.
What does he play?
Defensive line.
Yes, bring him. You need some D linemen. And I still got my eye on the kid at Illinois.
Yeah.
Don't forget about him. He's still like the Newton kid. He's still like number 3 in the country in defensive end grades on PFF. Or sorry, defensive lineman in general. He's got like something like he's a defensive tackle that has like 19 quarterback hits. That's crazy. That's a crazy number. So, and he's a Florida kid, just a sophomore. So bring him down too.
Okay. Keeping it up recruiting-wise, Bama Nole 80. Good morning from beautiful North Alabama, gentlemen. Thank you for all the great content. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the next few weeks will make a dent in our recruiting efforts, or is it pretty much set by this point? That's a fair question that we don't really have it's a very nebulous answer, because what we were telling you, and I mean the royal we, like pretty much everybody on the beat, not just this website, not to bring anybody down to the fray with us here, but it was like, all right, man, they need to prove it. They need to show these recruits, go ahead, win 8-9 games, beat your rivals, show them what you're building, build it, win, they will come. They're winning and they're not coming right now, so that's a bummer. It's unfortunate, but I don't think it's not gonna stymie you long term. I still think they're going to go into the portal and end up getting really good players. Hakeem Williams is a real, genuine 5-star breakout kind of guy at wide receiver too, so somebody you should probably see pay dividends quite quickly. Maybe one more season, stack it up, get this momentum built now and carry it into your offseason, and then that can be what gets the guys to jump on board. Because, again, so many of these guys commit early on into the cycle. It's hard to say, hey, now look at us in November. Now we're flying high. And I know you, Corey, you were like, well, I don't think the 3-loss streak really affected anything, which I don't think it did necessarily, but maybe you need to have better momentum in April, May, June, which sounds crazy, but that's the kind of way these kids are wired right now when it comes to the cycle of making that decision.
Yeah, and it is, as it relates to these next 2 weeks, we talked about it on headlines. Like, don't you think, because when is early signing day? That's probably something we should know as this show, but it's in December.
First Wednesday in December.
Yeah, so it's 3 weeks away. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine there's people that somebody that's deciding on Florida State is going to let the Florida game dictate one way or the other where they go. Like, I think if you're interested in Florida State, you've already seen enough. I take it back.
I apologize. December 21st. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you were way off. You might as well have said. I mean, you had a 1 in 4 chance, I guess, of getting that right. You knew it was sometime in December.
Well, it's the first Wednesday in February. For why don't you just do the first Wednesday in December if you're going to do it that way? But
probably because they're playing the championship game. So you said it's December 21st?
December 21st.
Man, that's right. But bowl prep will be happening right before Christmas. Huh, anyway, that seems a little late. I'll be honest with you, Aslan. That seems later than normal.
Right, yeah. After you bury me,
should be somewhere in the middle. Yeah, you're right. But I would think somebody that is already interested in Florida State has seen enough. Like, whether they win or lose against Florida, say they beat Florida 30-27, well, or lose 30-27, is that really going to dictate where you want to spend the next 3 or 4 years? You're already bought in or you're not bought in. Maybe there's 1 or 2 on the fence. I think what you hope, though, is Napier and Mario Cristobal can sell starting over. We're building a brand new program. Look at us. Don't pay attention to, I know we're not ranked and we're losing as much as we're winning. But we're building something here. So it wouldn't be a great look for Mike Norvell to then lose to a first-year head coach when you're trying to sell the product of what you can be, because you got a 2-year head start on him. And if you lose to him in your own stadium with a good team and a ranked team, that would not be a great look. But I still think enough has been proven, especially if you win this week, where you've won 8 games, that people can see, yeah, this thing's going in the right direction. So I don't know. I don't know that the next 2 weeks will matter that much, because I think the hay is in the barn with most of these kids, like the kids that are seniors. Now, next year's class, I absolutely think it can matter because you're talking about building momentum. It may be stemming some momentum for Florida. Like, ho, 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 look, I know you guys all thought Miami was up and coming and Cristobal's coming home and you got Ruiz and there's a lot of excitement around, oh, we just beat them 45-3. Still excited? You could do something similar to Florida if you go and win that game convincingly. You could give the kids in the next year's class and the class after that something to really think about. Because right now the state's wide open. You can run it. But you do need to win that game. I just think for this particular class, I would think most of their decisions are already made, right? There can't be more than a handful of kids that they're both in on that are really 50-50. Not even a handful. There might be one or two that are like really coming down to Florida or Florida State.
No. They're 8th right now, Florida. Miami 9th in the on-3 recruiting team rankings. Florida State 17th. But again, this doesn't factor in the portal. They'll do quite well in the portal. It's kind of what they do. Let's keep it recruiting. I think we got about 3 more in this family. We'll see if we can maybe try to bundle them all here. S-Rod, 1998. Wake up. Good morning to the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting. Not confirmed, though.
Amen.
Confirmed.
No, that is true. That is true.
I'm so happy to have this season. He's got a 2-parter. We'll save the second part for another one that we'll bundle. I'm so happy to have this season, this team, and a bowl to watch. At the same time, I'm worried about recruiting, player acquisition, and if this is nothing more than a Butch Jones-styled mirage. Coach Norvell has rebuilt this program. Impressive coaching to his credit. We are thankful. Can he restore the dynasty? J.R. Nole, 86. Love the work, guys. I'm a huge fan of the portal with our amazing hit rate. Mike's the Kirby of the portal.
That's not a bad play. Like, he doesn't get, he's not the Kirby because Kirby goes and gets like 5-star high school recruits that everybody wants. These guys that Florida State has gotten the last couple of years aren't exactly household names, Caleb Williamses that are Jordan Addisons that everybody wants, but they have done a remarkable job of identifying talent and getting game-changing type talent here. Like, Jamie Robinson was a nice player at South Carolina. Jermaine Johnson showed some promise. Johnny Wilson had done nothing. Trey Benson had done nothing. Micah Pittman had done very little. And these guys are all huge parts of this team. Tatum Bethune was one of the most accomplished guys. So that, to me, is when you they're going to have to start factoring in when they do these recruiting rankings. To me, it's almost silly. Like, I get it. You want to have a top 5 recruiting class. We all get it. We all want it. That's how you build a program. But in this day and age in particular, man, look at A&M. A&M just had the best class of all time. What is it going to look like next year? Like, are any of those kids going to be there? Like, with NIL and with the transfer portal, it's more meaningless than it's ever been, and it's very, very meaningful. But though, is Marvin Jones Jr. going to stay at Georgia? So is Travis Hunter going to stay at Jackson State? You lost those kids on National Signing Day, but did you lose them forever? That's the new reality we live in. So, I don't even know what my point was there, but it's just so different than it's ever been. And that transfer portal, it's not just sour. It's not just giving someone a pass for. I think Florida State's 17th in the country right now in recruiting. You want them to be higher than that. But if you factor in the transfer portal, which they should, I would say Florida State's class last year, you brought in Bethune, Johnny Wilson, Micah Pittman, Trey Benson. That's a top. Wouldn't that push them up 6 spots in your recruiting rankings, Aslan?
Yeah.
So that's just something that's another element that you have to factor in when you're looking at player acquisition and recruiting rankings.
All right, J.R. Nole, as I parse it down, with a couple more years of top-end portal hits and the wins that were to follow, Norvell should be ready to rake in multiple layers of 5-stars needed for another dynasty stretch. Thoughts? There's this other one. This one's about eval. We'll get to that one after this one. You guys are asking me to believe in something that I think is kind of unprecedented in terms of a dynasty stretch. Has any program been dynastic twice in your lifetime, Corey? I mean, Alabama, what they're going through now. I mean, that was
but they weren't any good. They weren't very good from when I started watching college football. They were pretty irrelevant, except for 1 year and then a couple years in the '90s. So I'm trying to think. I'm sure there has been one, but Oklahoma maybe. Oklahoma would be my best because they were incredible in the '80s. They were always awesome. Then they disappeared for the '90s, and then they got good again. All right. And they're always a playoff. They were always a playoff contender. So I guess they would be the answer to that. But yeah, it doesn't. You're not going to get like dynasty. You're not going to have another dynasty run. That's just not college football. That's just not going to happen. Nick Saban, Alabama. I can't foresee that really happening anywhere. It could, I guess.
Well, but Kirby. I mean, Kirby's he's the next in line.
Yeah, but he's got to do it for another 8 years.
Yeah.
That just seems far-fetched. And I mean, do it for 8 years like you're in the playoffs every year. You don't have a down year.
And it's that dude who coached for that guy at that school with those resources, financially and human resource-wise. Not that the state of Florida is a slouch when it comes to recruiting, but, man, I always remember being in Dothan, and we interviewed Tommy Tuberville before he became a senator or whatever, and remember asking him, like, what do you think is the best coaching job in all of America? And he said, he didn't even hesitate. He's like, Georgia, the University of Georgia. He's like, you cannot find better talent within just a stone's throw of greater Atlanta. He's like, there's nowhere else you need to go. It's like the University of Georgia is by far the best job to have.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, but I guess because it's so close to there's so many people, so many good football programs and good players in that one area of Atlanta. I would say overall Florida is better, but Florida's a lot bigger. There's big cities all over Florida. But Atlanta's just right there. It's 45 minutes from Athens or an hour from Athens, and there is a ton of great talent there, including a kid at my son's high school. Yeah. He's like the #1 safety in the country, and he chose Alabama.
Hey, also speaking of recruiting, side note, do you know remember the Steiner brothers, wrestlers, the Steiner brothers?
Yeah.
Scott Steiner's kid is from Ackworth, and he committed to Virginia Tech basketball.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that the other day on Twitter, and figured I'd share it at this point.
What a cool tangent.
Yeah, it'd be great to get back to the dynasty.
It's good to have that kind of stuff. Yeah, but the point being, the overall point, and I think it's something we both agree with, right, Aslan? I think that I've been more sold on Norvell than you have.
Yes.
But we both can see that he's building a program. Like this is so much better than it was 3 years ago. There's real hope. There's real he knows what he's doing. He's got himself a program. He has done some heavy lifting and got this thing in place to be pretty good for a while. We both still wonder, as you guys do, the people that are asking these questions, when does it translate into top 5, 8 on the recruiting trail? That's the one question he's got left to answer. Like, look, you can get in the playoff with the top 15 recruiting. You can, though. I mean, to be consistent, to consistently contend for national championships or playoffs, you do. At least top 10-ish. Right. Like, you can't hover around top 22 and 23 and 21, 17. You have to start making inroads because you're in the state of Florida. Not, maybe at TCU you don't because it's TCU, but at Florida State, man, you need to be recruiting at a pretty elite level. You've got the spear on your chest when you walk into a high school. That does mean something. It still resonates. So that needs to start resonating a little more for my taste on the recruiting trail, just if you're going to be consistently elite. But he's got this thing set up, man, where, he's got what are they, 19th in the country now?
Yeah.
Man, we watched a team last September lose at home to Jacksonville State, and now they're actually ranked in the college football playoff 13 months later. This guy knows what he's doing. He's got himself a good team, and the guts of this program are awesome. The one thing that everything else, the offense has answered all those questions, development, evaluation, all of that is answered questions. It's just the recruiting aspect of it. But when it comes to NIL and this reality, I don't even know why is he losing recruits? Are they just not interested in Florida State, or are they getting more money? Like, it's hard to know in this new day and age. But yeah, man, that's the only not flaw. It's the only box in my mind. It's the only box that he has still not checked. Elite recruiter.
Right, but we haven't really seen it hinder them yet. I think he's going to be able to go. I think they've got a good eye for evaluating guys that already have stuff on tape at this level to figure out whether they'll fit or not. They've done a really good job of that. I just wonder how much of also the quarterback. Like, I had such a weird relationship with Jordan Travis at this point. That, like, is he better than any of us can even imagine? That so much of the success is based on just his presence, again, of opening things up in the run game, him being so adept at just running this offense. But then you look at his previous place, and like every quarterback Mike Norvell had, man, those guys always threw for like 3,000 and over 25 touchdowns. So maybe, he made Jordan Travis more so than vice versa. Like the whole Jimbo Jameis thing, kind of.
Maybe.
Almost,
We know the answer to that one, but with that riddle.
Do we, though? How great has Jameis been, man?
Come on, buddy.
What do you mean?
You've got now 15
because he's been so
years.
horrible without him. But together, though, not to say that, like with Jameis.
I get what you're saying now, but I'm saying the difference is I was just saying about Jimbo now.
Jimbo's horrible without Jameis. Jameis is not good without Jimbo. They're
correct.
Different.
Yeah, it was a nice marriage. It was symbiotic.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, but Jimbo had big number. Jamarcus, Ponder, Manuel. Like he'd had good quarterbacks in the past. It wasn't just Jameis. Jameis just took him to the next level. I don't think Jordan Travis necessarily has taken this offense to an incredible level that it won't see otherwise. Like once you find somebody to fill that void, I don't know if it's Rodemaker or Duffy or somebody else, but get somebody else in here that's talented, that you handpicked, that you developed. I can foresee it being still a really good offense.
Because the offensive line's really good. This running back's really
yes.
good. But also, man, Jordan takes care of the ball, and he's really accurate. And those are two things that aren't necessarily plentiful out there when it comes to recruiting these guys at that position.
Well, they need to be. You need to go find somebody that can make good decisions, take care of the ball, and be accurate. There are enough of them out there that you can find one of them that would come to Florida State to play football.
And then Samari Nole, I think this should be about the wrap for the recruiting segment of this program. You can also watch a replay of Michael Langston's recruiting chat up on our YouTube channel. It's totally free. Guys, can you talk about how well Mike and company are evaluating talent that is coming to the program? Okay, they missed on McKenzie, bad as an MFer. His words, not mine. But a lot of their, quote, low-rated players seem to be real jewels. Rodney Hill, Darion. Well, let's relax on Darion. It was 7 minutes of a football game. Shaheem, I would put in there. He also has Kentron. I don't know if Kentron's a jewel yet. We kind of talked about this before. Like, that first class is a real tough one to have because you have like 2 weeks to recruit, really, because at the early signing period. Like, Robert Scott's a good dude. DJ Lundy's giving you productivity. That's why I just wonder about them needing to have like a roster flush with high-level talent. Like, they can find these blue-collar, hard-working guys that really buy in and work their rear ends off, and you can just add a couple guys that are proven and give them another second chance at life, if you will, like your Johnny Wilsons, that maybe that can get you where you want to go ultimately. But
yeah, sort of. Like, look, man, they have enough talent that I don't know what else. What's LSU now? Sixth?
Sixth.
They beat the sixth-ranked team in the country. And not with a bunch of 5 stars. LSU has 5 stars all over the place. They have guys that are going to be first, second-day draft picks all over the place. Florida State beat that team. You can do that. That was the first, well, I guess second game of the year technically for Florida State. But then they lose their starting defensive tackle. And it kind of sabotages the defense for 5 weeks. If you recruit at a higher level, that doesn't matter as much.
Okay, very fair.
That's all. Like, that's all. Your top level talent, your starting 22 in college football today with the parity, you can compete with the Georgias and the Ohio States for a game. But can you go through the rigors of your schedule and suffer and go through the injuries that you go through that every football team does and have that big a disparity between your starter and your backup? That's where the issues come in. So that's my biggest concern about the player acquisition. But again, you brought up a great point. Number one, his first recruiting class, he had 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
The next recruiting class, they didn't get to see anybody in person for the entire year. They didn't get to recruit anyone. It was not a real recruiting season. So he's really on his, second real recruiting class where he's actually got to be a football coach, going and watching and evaluating players and trying to develop relationships, having them come to his camps, All these great ideas that he had done in the past, he's now implementing at Florida State. I'm ready to see it take off. I want the 2024 class to be a top 10 class. That's not too much to ask, Aslan.
No.
It's not too much to ask, buddy.
Man, we spent so much time talking about recruiting. It's incredible. Let's get to some reads, though.
Well, that's what people listen to this show for.
Yeah, that's
Our
right.
takes on recruiting, baby.
That's right. Good hand placement. Thick
The
bottom.
hips, the fluid
Thick bottom.
hips, too.
Yeah.
Really fluid hips. Comes in and out of his break really well.
Hey, you know what's also comes out of the breaks good? Making some bets. When you listen to Corey and I, we had our winners yesterday. Go back, listen to it. There's some real good ones there. Corey's lock of the year. If you want to refinance your house, North Carolina -21, if you can still find it out there, anybody, kids. Hop on it over at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code WAKEUP to claim your deposit bonus, a half deposit match of any amount up to $1,000. You can stream games and live bet while you watch, so turn your game day into payday with MyBookie. Florida State, 24.5-point favorite, 52. You're over-under on that contest. So maybe like a, I don't know what they're thinking, like a 40-ish to low teens kind of final score. We'll see how it all goes, but you know how to pick winners. You can pick it over at MyBookie with their huge selection of odds, props, and contests for all your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere. When you play with MyBookie, you're not just betting, you're joining the winning team. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at mybookie.ag. Let's go into some sort of
38-13 is about what they're thinking.
Okay.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, it seems like that. I think that's the math that checks out there.
NYC, Nole. Wake up, gents. You guys are the best podcast covering FSU. It hasn't been verified.
Also, you could have left it off after just podcast, right?
Well, I'm reading what
He specified.
Yeah,
he
I don't
specified, but he didn't have to specify. We know we're just the best podcast, period.
Yeah, I don't read everybody's questions verbatim, so I could have cut that one off too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey guys, it's Louisiana week. I was bored. I came across a piece of information I did not know, so I now have a trivia question. Probably won't stump Corey though, but I'm going to try.
All right.
Which bowl game that is still around today in its original name was Florida State a part of in its inaugural year? So a bowl game that's still around, still has the same name, Florida State played in its inaugural year. Drink DeLuna, click the Wake Up Warchant box on the right. I think it means the like button or subscribe. Go Noles.
It's not the Cigar Bowl. That was the first one they played in. That's not around anymore. What a great name.
It's awesome.
The Cigar Bowl.
Brought to
Maybe
you by R.J. Reynolds.
I would guess maybe the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, he got it!
I got it. I nailed that.
Let's go, Corey!
All right, baby. All right. I feel good. Was it what year was it? 67, 64? What year was it?
He didn't give us that.
Oh, okay.
He just
All right.
got, so he crushed it. Attaboy, Corey, let's go!
All right. I feel good about it.
Nole Boy 02. Hey, guys, wake up. I'm going to hijack this question a little bit, but I love them. What team would you like to play most in a bowl game this year? I know a lot of people are saying they want an SEC team, but personally, I would like to see FSU Texas in the Cheez-It Bowl because it's never happened, and I think it would bring in a lot of money. Also, because I think we could dominate them and their fans. Ooh, yeah, they're not as blue collar as most Texas folk, them Austinites. You know, we can. If that's what you're talking about, dominating them, or maybe you're talking about yelling louder than they can. Support the players, the sponsors, and War Chant on YouTube. And Rising Spear, he says. Thank you. Texas would be cool because I think, I don't know, is Bijan Robinson, is he a sophomore or a junior? I would think if he's draft eligible, he will not play in that game, and I feel exponentially better about our chances against them. So I wouldn't mind Texas. Texas would be fun, but I'd rather go to Austin. Like I want to go to Austin. I want to watch a game in Austin.
It'd still be cool to play Texas, but you're right. You're right. If they're going to play, like, you know, it wouldn't be nearly as cool as if it'd be cool to see Texas and Doak. Just those colors, not those
Bevo
uniform and Doak.
Bevo and Renegade. Just
Bevo
like
there, yeah. Just Renegade,
paths.
just Osceola just stabs Bevo with the spear. We're all eating. We're all eating, baby. What would the NCAA fine Florida State? Would they suspend the game? Would Florida State go on probation? Like, what would you do if Osceola literally
killed Bevo?
Killed Bevo.
Man, I think there's a bunch of Air Force base in Texas. I think they'd bomb us. I mean, like Tallahassee.
You're right. Well, yeah, it's Texas. They're out. They do things differently out there. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you probably could still play the game at least. I mean, Osceola probably gets arrested, but you just play the game. It's fine, whatever. And so I looked it up. It was 1971 was they played Arizona State in the Fiesta Bowl.
All right, nice.
Arizona State, of course, they had to play Arizona State in Tempe, and they lost 45-38.
Nice. What I want to ask you, Corey, is would you rather Florida State play a really good offense, like a really explosive, dynamic offense in their bowl game, or go up against a team that's more renowned for having a really stingy defense?
I just don't think it matters, right? Because who of that defense will be playing? Because bowl games are different. Bowl games are different, and Florida State's offense might not have all its own guys.
You're right.
So I really don't have a preference just because you don't know. You don't know anymore who's going to be playing in a bowl game, and they're such unique games, standalone games anyway, that you might have a top 10 defense, but if two of the guys sit out and you don't really care because you're both 8-4, it might be 40-37.
Yeah, I wonder. I want to see like in a vacuum almost. Like I want to see Florida State's offense go up against Georgia's defense, and I want to see Tennessee's offense go up against Florida State's defense. Like to get a real barometer, because they're the number 19 team in the country. But what ranked is Georgia Tech right now? Like what do we think of the 131 teams? Like Georgia Tech's like what, 99? Miami's like what? Like maybe 87th?
Yeah.
I mean Syracuse is probably a top 40 team. Although we'll see how the smoke settles on that. Like I want at least whatever team they play, I just want them to have some sort of calling card to we'll get a real good barometer of what we have right now. Not to say that any of this is like smoke and mirrors or fool's gold, but like it would help me. It would go a little bit ways if they played, I guess maybe like Texas's offense, although they couldn't do anything against TCU.
But isn't Texas? I mean, Florida's offense is better than Texas's. Wouldn't that tell you more?
Yeah, we are gonna find a lot after the Florida game. That's for sure.
And you bookended the season with LSU and Florida. No. Those are pretty good barometers of where you are as a program, I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Dalvinism, wake up, coming to you live from Corey's stomping grounds, Gwinnett County. I know we all want to leave
up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know we all want to leave the ACC. But with the way Clemson's trending and the soon-to-be expanded playoff, FSU seems like they have a clear path to the playoff every single year as long as they're in the ACC. I know money is a lot less, but do you think from a competitive standpoint it may actually make more sense to go back to being big fish, small pond? Probably, but I am over. I'm over it, man. I'm over Boston College. I'm over playing Syracuse.
Yep.
I'm over. I want to play Auburn, man. I want to play Ole Miss. I want to play those teams week-to-week basis. I just do. But your point is valid. You stay in this conference gives you a nice path to being one of the 12 guys that get a seat at the table.
Yes, your chance of getting the playoff are probably, even though the SEC will have more teams, you have much better chances of winning games in the ACC than you do playing a full SEC slate. That's understood. We all get it. But at the same time, sure would be nice to have an extra $70 million a year.
Yes. Oh, look at that. And think about this fan base. This fan base is hardcore, right? Like Florida State football fans are on another level. Who do you snipe with? Like you got Miami and Florida, and then the 10 other weeks of the season, you got LSU to kind of go up against. But like, do you really look forward to Wake Forest week? Like, can't wait till we play NC State.
Even this week, like this year was the perfect example because Florida State was undefeated when Wake came to town. Wake had just lost in double overtime to Clemson. They were one of the top 10, 15 teams. It was like a top 15 matchup, right? Or top 20 matchup, whatever. And it's still Wake Forest, man. And no offense to them because they beat Florida State every year these days. But it's just not the same. It's just they don't bring anybody with them, even when they're good. It's not like you'll be at Corner Pocket on Friday night and a throng of Wake fans come rolling in. They don't even know where Tallahassee is. They never come. It's just players' families that come to these games from all of these schools, not named Clemson. It's all just players' families. And that's a cool aspect of college football games that Florida State fans don't get to enjoy is opposing fans. Like if you play Auburn and Doak, there'll be 10,000 Auburn fans in the city.
Yeah, man. Yep.
You play Alabama, 10,000. If Alabama's really good and you're not, it could be 20,000.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Arkansas would even pack Doak, I guess.
They all would, man. Yeah. Everybody but Vanderbilt. and maybe Kentucky, but even Kentucky I think would. Just Georgia. I mean, they're
because we're a bucket list. This is a you want to go to Doak
it's also
Campbell Stadium.
just watch any SEC game when Arkansas plays Auburn in Arkansas. There'll be 8,000 Auburn fans there. They just travel to go watch these teams play, and it just doesn't happen in the ACC.
Real quick, Corey, crawfish, overrated, underrated, properly rated?
Don't know, don't eat them. Okay. I tried to eat them once. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand, and I'm like, can I just get, how about the fisherman's platter? Can I just get the platter and not worry about having to get figure out how to get this tiny little piece of meat out of this crustacean or whatever a crawfish is? I think
you're right.
So, no, I can't tell you. I don't know. I love lobster tail, though.
All right.
You know why I love lobster tail most, Aslan?
The butter?
It's already open for me. I don't have to go in there and crack it like a caveman. I can actually, it's just there. I can take it out of its shell really easy and dip it into my drawn butter.
Now you sound like an ACC guy. I love it.
I know, man. What am I doing? I should be in there. I love the ACC, man.
This is home for us. Yeah. Mahogany Strat likes the idea of crawfish and the novelty of a crawfish bowl, but, man, it takes a lot of crawfish to make you full. Question, if Jared Verse goes to the draft, who leads the team in sacks next year? Patrick Payton, Derek McClendon, somebody from the portal, or somebody on the current roster not named?
I think I'm all in with Patrick Payton, man.
All right. Yeah.
And I think they're going to get somebody good from the portal because how could you not after the last two guys? But I'm all in on Patrick Payton, man. I think he's a 10-sack-a-year kind of guy. I think he's going to be a problem for another year or two in this league.
This might be for a reply on the thread, typing on your keyboard. I don't even know how to properly say that. But anyhow, Aslan, Corey, thanks for all the content. Corey, with the improved special teams play, can you recount the hidden punt yardage as you did for last year? I'm guessing it may be a little bit better than negative 150, but figured you had an eagle eye on watching this for the season.
Yeah, I don't. I think what I'd have to do is go and count, go get 5 of the punts last year that they let bounce and count out just 5 random ones. Count out the yards and just because I don't want to go count out. I'm not going to assume that they all. I don't know how many. I mean, I guess we could assume they all bounce 10 yards if you don't catch them.
Okay.
So if they go 15, yeah, I could do that, I guess, now that I talked myself into it. I'm not going to, but I could. I would say Micah Pittman alone has saved them 25 first downs this season. I think he saves them 2 first downs a game, at least. He averages 10. I think he leads the ACC with 10.5 yards on punt return average. So last year, I think their average was 3. So right there, he's gained you 7 yards. And then you think of all the times he's caught a ball that wouldn't have been caught. I bet you could theoretically make an argument he's saved you 400 yards in field position with the course of a season.
Trying to get returns. Punt returns. Micah Pittman, number 1 in the conference, averaging tied with the guy from Pitt. 10.
How many does he have?
16 for 162 with a long of 34.
Yeah, so 162 yards. So last year, if you're going by the same average, I think they averaged 3 yards a return. So that's 16 for 48. So right there, you're 114 yards better. Plus, you think of that 150 that you've saved by catching the ball. Well, now you're at 264 yards. And that might be being it could be more than that. So I probably said a little too much, but it's probably in the neighborhood of 250 to 300 yards in field position.
Florida State
by having Micah Pittman back there.
Florida State was 13th in the conference last year, averaged 4.2 punts per or 4.2 yards per punt return.
But one of them was a 40-yarder by Keyshawn against Jacksonville State. Okay. You wipe that one away, and I guess that's not. I know that's not how stats work. They had 71
total yards. They had 17 for 71 yards.
That's crazy, and they had 40 on one. I mean, it is remarkable how bad they were at it. Just couldn't catch it. Wouldn't catch it, and when they did catch it, didn't do anything with it. And now they're actually doing something with it. That dude catches it and runs forward. He's really tough to get down. I really like it's. He's been as big a deal. I mean, if you think about it, what did we just say? 300 yards, probably 250 to 300 yards saved in punt returns. How many yards receiving does Micah Pittman have this year?
I'm one man with only 2 monitors, Corey. You're killing me, man.
Sorry. I would guess he has somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 yards receiving, right? 300?
I think he's got over 300.
But the point being, He's done almost as
305.
much. Okay, so he's done almost as much for you in yardage and just catching punts and running forward with them as he has as a receiver. Man, that was a really good signing by those guys because Micah Pittman's made a big difference. Even though he's not been a superstar, he's made a really big difference back there.
Let's package these two together. Our guy in Hawaii, Ralph, Spartan Nole 71. Aloha, guys. How's it? A few weeks ago, I asked if we could get back to the days of Mickey's defense in that we played next year's starters a lot. Summarizing, your answer was today's offenses will not allow that. In the past few weeks, if the past few weeks are not symbolic of what should we expect week in and week out, then I will revise my question. As a coordinator, how many reps per year would you set as a goal to make sure your future starters are getting the experience they need so as not to have a productivity drop-off when they do become the starters? Bookmark that. Seminole Life. Wake up. Curious your thoughts on the timing of starters coming out of the games and blowouts. I asked because we put Tate in, left Trey Benson out there when the game was 38-3. Found it odd. Why risk your best back at that point? So
I think
20 guys in and out. The answer to this, Corey, is sorry.
All right.
Oh,
go for it.
Oh, Corey Smith. Oh, Corey Smith.
Well,
everybody.
I tried to answer Ralph's question. You cut me off. I tried to answer that question. You cut me off.
Get more cupcakes early in the season. Get them their playing time then. I don't know how many times you're going to be able to get guys in conference games the way you have the last 2 weeks. It's been awesome, but I don't know if you can count on that. The answer is North Alabama, not Alabama. Get them early in the year. Get the guys the snaps they want in those games, and you'll be fine. Corey, digress.
I don't know, man. I think this is fun to do it with against ACC teams.
Oh, I do too. I don't know if we can count on it, though.
3 in a row, baby. 3 in a row. It's been incredible. But, yeah, I think with Rodemaker, they wanted him to work with the first team. So I think that's why he was in there with Benson. And I think many of those guys were – I think Johnny Wilson might have been in the game at some point with him. And some of those linemen were first team, maybe all of them, for that first drive he had. But, anyway, going back to Ralph's question real quick, yes, I don't know if you'd set a number like I want this kid to have 100 snaps. Because then he'll be he'll be more ready to play next year because he's had 100 snaps. That is a benefit of it. But it's also, you get 100 snaps to know what he is. Like with a freshman, obviously you know there are going to be some growing pains, but you can see some stuff, positive and negative, to tell you, all right, we need to get in the portal here. This kid is not. You can know pretty early on if a kid is going to be something or not. And so when you see him out on the field, and it's like, even as a freshman or a redshirt freshman, you're like, all right, that's not great. Or, man, there's something special there. Like Patrick Payton immediately. Now, he's not really a backup anymore. He plays real reps. But somebody like that, Azarie Thomas, those guys start flashing more the more they play. That's how it works. But I think it's twofold. It helps you get prepared for next year, but it also tells you what you have in them or what you could have in them. And that was the beauty of the 90s, because those guys would play 20 snaps a game. And if you do that 10 times, you've played 200 snaps and you're not even a starter. That's more than, some starters will play. So, or at least close to it. So that's a real benefit what they've been able to do these past 2 weeks, right? That's a huge deal to get these guys playing time. And I thought Atkins brought up a really good point when he was talking about the offense, like Rodemaker and those guys going out there. The last 2 games that Rodemaker's been out there with the backups, they've been going up against the ones from the other team. Like Miami and Syracuse both left their starting defenses out there in the fourth quarter, even as they were being embarrassed. So they got real work. This was not just an exhibition. Let's just go out there. We're playing their backups. Let's go. They were playing guys that were good, ACC starters, and they went out there and competed and moved the ball against them. So those were all good signs.
Our guy Mark M. Adams, CZ, Naples, wake up. First, crawfish, underrated. I would eat 5 to 10 pounds at a time when I live in New Orleans. I've even had it shipped to my house in Florida. Can't beat a good crawfish boil. Just need to know how to peel off that tail.
Well, exactly.
And no one teaches you that growing up. If you don't,
YouTube now could teach you. Yeah. But when I first tried it, YouTube wasn't around. The people at my table weren't helping me. They were just laughing at me, and I was like, "Screw this! I'm eating bread." And then get me that platter.
What do you think is the blueprint for the Louisiana game? Obviously can't look past any opponent these days. Do you give Trayshawn and Lawrence extra touches and keep Trey fresh? Do you limit Jordan to 15 to 18 pass attempts to ensure he's healthy and fresh for Florida? Or do you throw your whole playbook and all your weapons and earn a victory 52 to 10? interesting game in a way because you can't look past an opponent who will be super motivated to come into Doak and make it a 4-quarter game if they can. Go Noles. Now I'm craving some crawfish.
Yeah, man, I am not. You can't play that game, man. You can't play like let's go in and let's try to get let's put a cap on what we want these guys to do and let's hope they don't have to throw more than 18 or 20. You got to go in there to win the game. This coaching staff got embarrassed last year by treating an opponent like an exhibition, like literally the worst day of their lives in their careers. Sorry, the worst day of they've had real tragedy, but in their careers it was the worst day of their lives. Losing to Jacksonville State. And that's because they ran plays with both quarterbacks in the backfield. They're punting with both feet. Where'd that go, by the way?
Yeah.
Mastromanno just become a right-footed punter the whole season? Come on, Alex. So they treated that game like an exhibition and bit them in the butt. So you can't go into this game trying to do anything but beat the tar out of Louisiana. You can't save anything. Now, maybe you save a 2-point play here or there, but you can't. You've got to empty the barrels, man. If you've got good players it's 7-0 in the second quarter, you can't be like, well, we need Benson for the third quarter against Florida. You need to win this game because it would undo all the good work you did if you lose at home to Louisiana. So I after Jacksonville State in particular, I treat this game like it's an ACC game. In fact, this team is as good as Georgia Tech and Boston College, in my opinion, or close to it anyway. So treat them like you treated those games. That's how I would look at it. This is not Duquesne. This is not a team you can name your score on. This is a real opponent, a proud opponent. They won 10 or 11 games last year. They're trying to get bowl eligible too. They pulled off upsets. Go in there and try to don't take them lightly. Go do everything you can to win the game. Yeah, and then when you're up 41-0, give C.J. Campbell and Toa Feely and Rodney Hill reps.
Back to Estrad, 1998. Should we expect Florida State to break 40, hold the opponent under 20, basic massacre standards, even though Louisiana's down? What do you think? I think I picked 41-10 because I think you go out there and you still play. You play hard. Yeah. I don't think you're maybe like you have an idea like we want to maybe get Trey Benson out of the game at half, but otherwise I think everything is. I mean, listen, you ran Philly special up 4 scores on the road when you have the biggest game of your schedule because it's the next game to a certain degree, the Florida game coming up.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Louisiana. Yeah. They had Louisiana coming up, their biggest game on the schedule because it's the next game. Yeah.
I think they'll break 40. I won't be disappointed if they are held under 40, but I'll be surprised.
I would like them to break 50. I would like their scoring offense to kind of get on par with the way their offense is playing. I'd like 600 yards and 50 points, honestly. But I also understand that if you do get a big lead, and Norvell's done a pretty good job of this now. When you do get a big lead, start subbing liberally, because there is a chance Louisiana, if they realize there's no chance they're going to win, they're going to race to get the game over with because they'll have a chance the following week to get bowl eligible, and they really do want to do that. And it's against Texas State, a game they actually probably have a much better chance of winning. So, but yeah, I play that first half. I try to get to 42 in the first half. And if you're there, fine. And I'm not saying you will, but I mean, look, man, this is an offense that starting from the fumble against Georgia Tech when you were at the 1-yard line, this starting offense has had the ball for 28 possessions and has scored on 20 of them. That's crazy. That's an incredible rate in like 16 touchdowns in 28 possessions. They had one that was intercepted at the goal line. So they've played remarkable. So just keep doing what you're doing. And I'll be disappointed, frankly, if they come out and look lethargic because that's not what this team is supposed to be. Like I don't want to see a start like they had against Georgia Tech. Come out and don't fiddle fart around and drop passes and drop snaps and have bad penalties that get you off out of rhythm. Just go play like you've been playing. Take care of business. Treat them like you treated Syracuse and Miami.
All right, the clock is a real thing in our lives. We're going to go about 15 more minutes, try to get in as many as we can here. Derail, good morning, guys. Sam McCall put his name in the portal, took it out quickly. Did he take it down because he was just emotional or because he couldn't enter the portal officially until December? What are the odds that he jumps ship in December and does enter the portal? He did say it was emotional. I don't know if it was he took his name out because of standard procedure or something like that. And I don't think
people are in the portal all the time.
Yeah, I don't think the
Florida
odds.
State just hosted a kid that's in the portal.
And I don't think the odds of him jumping ship are any higher than any freshman on most Power 5 programs. I think it was just a bad weekend for the guy. So that's my opinion.
We'll see. But you don't know, and I don't know. Like only Sam really knows. But no, it was not. He didn't take it out of the portal. To answer the question, he didn't take his name out of the portal because you can't officially be in the portal. People are officially in the portal right now, including the kid, the lineman from Florida that just visited, that you can read all about on our website, Aslan.
Boom. Ranye, Georgia Noles 86. Good morning, wake up. If Jordan Travis returns for his senior year, what do you think the Florida State 2023 preseason ranking would be? How many early departures do you see leaving for the NFL? Over, under of 6? I will hammer the under on that.
Under. Yeah, I'll do the under. And I think they would be 15th.
Ooh, really? I'd say like 12th. I mean, if they win out, that's basically if they win out, I think. If they win out, they'll be top 12. If they lose to Florida or the bowl game, I'll say like 16th.
Okay, all right. Well, but just for Jordan coming back, or that was the stipulation in the question.
Yeah. If he returns, if he doesn't return, I don't know where they'd be.
Yeah. But I mean, again, and it's so hard to know because we don't even know what this team will look like in August. We have no idea. There are going to be guys we've never heard of that'll be on this team, and they're going to be big parts of this team. I got to admit, I'd never heard the words Trey Benson, and look at him.
Island Chief, wake up. How in the name of Robert Kleckler Bowden did we get here? We were averaging 34 points per game and allowing only 18. Pretty good. Next 2 games test focus and the ability to finish. Have we played our best game of the season yet?
Probably.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate to say that, but these last 2 have been incredible. I don't know. That's a real high ceiling to clear. Yeah. So you probably have played your best game, but you can match it or come close to it.
Yeah.
And man, they did a really good job of restacking this roster with legitimate college football players. Somebody was asking about, and I'll go real quick, but like think about 2 years ago, Sidney Williams was a starting safety.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
He's not. Now he's a backup linebacker. And I'm not trying to kill the kid. Sidney Williams might end up being a very good linebacker, but that's where they were 2 years ago. They were playing a kid with no experience, a young kid at safety, who same with Travis J, who now aren't anywhere part of their defensive plans. That's how much better the roster's gotten. They have done a great job at player evaluation, player acquisition, and then player development. Those are all 3 really important factors to be in a good program.
It's wild. That's a really good answer, though. I mean, I struggle every day doing this show. I'm like, how is this happening? But Corey really sums it up well right there. Shout out.
Thanks,
Noles _no_1. Did Napier take his assistants or most of them with him to Florida? I'm wondering if the current Louisiana staff has a good rapport with him and if they would share other angles of their film with Florida. I know as a coach, we always want the inside film of an opponent, but that's not the angle that is shared. In college, I know they get the all-22, which is nice, but inside showed alignments of the offensive line and tight ends. And for the defense, they're defensive line assignments.
I looked it up, Aslan. He brought 4.
My man.
He brought 4. He has 4 assistant coaches with him, including his he's got co-defensive coordinators, but one of the co-defensive coordinators is from Louisiana. But, yeah, 4 of his assistants are from his staff last year at Louisiana. I think the guy that's coaching Louisiana now, the head coach there, who has kind of a bizarre name. I can't remember his name.
DeSormo.
He was that's a Cajun name if I've ever heard it. He was an assistant there, right? Clearly last year. Yeah. So I have to imagine.
But they got a little bad blood. He got mad because Napier also took some players, and he was trying to take even more players. And I think there was
okay, Aslan, you're right.
Yeah, so he might. But the head coach might not be on great terms with Napier. And I don't know if those assistants weren't taken with them. Like, hey, you didn't take me to Gainesville to get a pay raise. Like, I'm not going to help you. So
maybe they give him misinformation.
Ooh,
like, look, man, the 14, he looks tall. He's really 6'1". Don't worry about it. You don't need to roll over a safety. It's fine. Your corner can handle him. The Benson kid, slow as molasses. You're fine. Just gang tackle him. He's not very good. Yeah, something like that.
Tennis Ump, good morning, guys. What position group has surprised you the most since your preseason preview and the Converse? Thanks as always. You guys are the best. Offensive line they're awesome, man.
That's got to be the answer.
They're really good. I thought they'd be better. Wide receivers might be somewhere in there as well. I know the defense is playing great, and no one thought they'd be, only allowing 18 points, but it's just such a weird – it's hard to pick out why it is. I know we talked about Fabian being out, but, man, Renardo's covering really well. Is it Tatum? It's hard to say, but, on offense, not to take anything away from Jordan and Trey and these receivers, but, man, that offensive line is giving them time to make reads and holes to run through. I would not have imagined the offensive line would look this good.
That's the answer. Surprise. There's no other answer. It's that one.
And I don't know if a little bit disappointed maybe in the secondary, but the secondary they haven't allowed any big plays. I was
going to say, and I am too. It's such a weird defense to talk about because I'm kind of disappointed in Akeem Dent, clearly disappointed in Duke Cooper, and yet I think they lead the Power 5 in passing yards allowed. They're one of them? They've allowed the fewest passing yards of a Power 5 defense in the country. So it's you can't be that mad at them. So I don't know. It's pretty
Florida
crazy
State
to watch.
Second. They are second in the entire country out of every single team. 131. They were behind Air Force. In terms of that's awesome. The Air Force has got the least amount of yards allowed through the air. Shout out Air Force.
There you go. There you
Stand
go, Air
Colorado
Force.
Springs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Florida State is second. They are second in the entire country.
How about that, man? That's crazy.
And I'm like,
that's crazy.
Duke Cooper, come on, you're letting me down.
Yeah, Zarnier, when are you going to take a step? Akeem, come on. And he's like, well, they're just leading the country in passing yards allowed.
Thomas Ortner, longtime fan, longtime lurker, first-time writer in. If I give you fine gentlemen the choice for the next 7 years, would you rather Mike Norvell lead Florida State to a national title, but the sky suddenly falls like what happened under Jimbo, or Mark Richt type run in Athens where we don't get to the playoffs? Although he would have gotten to the playoffs, probably, those teams. BCS was around that time, but point taken.
One of them.
Would you rather have a Mark Richt type run in Athens where we never reach the playoffs, but we get 10 wins and we never go under 8? You got it.
Well, I'll
do Jimbo. I do Jimbo all over again. I would do the Jimbo Fisher to get a national title in that fashion for, I don't know, I'd love to be Alabama. I would love to be Alabama, but I'm a realist. That's what they've got is just what they've got. I'll take a national title every 8 years if I have to eat garbage for 4 in between it. Of the 8 years gap.
I'm trying to think of what is a team that does that now? Like Penn State? A team that
James
never
Franklin's
really
kind of in there, yeah.
But they don't go to a playoff.
Right.
But they're good. They're always top 20-ish.
Yeah.
Or would you rather be, what Florida State was? Yeah. Would you have rather been a Florida State fan from when did Franklin get there? But let's say, would you rather be a Florida State fan
14,
from 2012?
Yeah.
Or let's say, so Florida State from 2013 to now, or a Penn State fan from 2013 to now?
Bingo.
I literally, I don't know the answer. I think you'd rather be Florida State, but these lows were so low. They were so low, gang. It just was really hard to write about, to talk about, to see for you guys. I mean, it was awful. And part of me, and maybe it's because I was a Braves fan, so I lived it for 20 years. It's better to be good and not win, ultimately at the end of the year, than win once and be horrible, like the Marlins. You'd much rather be a Braves fan over the last 30 years than you would be a Marlins fan, and yet they have the same number of titles. The Marlins have gotten to the playoffs 3 times in their history. They've won the World Series twice. Meanwhile, the Braves have been there 25 times in the last 30 years and won twice. But it's still just much more enjoyable. The day-to-day, the week-to-week is so much more enjoyable covering a perpetual 10-win team than a 13-win team, 9-win team, 2-win team. Ugh. That 2020, for a lot of reasons, was awful. 2018, those were 2017, those were dark days, man. So I think I might take the Mark Richt run.
You don't believe that, but you did a really good job of convincing yourself of that. But I like it.
I
Good
think
job.
I do, man.
No
I think
way.
I do.
I mean, Pasadena was awesome, man. I mean, you talk about the pain of like losing to Alabama. What was it, the 2012 SEC championship game?
Yeah.
That hurts, man. That hurts.
Well, it wouldn't have hurt as much if the playoff was around.
Yeah.
You know, be like, oh, well, we'll get them again in a couple weeks.
My Truth saved himself a spot in line, but we already recorded, so hit refresh, and you still haven't posted your question. So Winkles is like the new my guy from Kentucky, just finds a way to get in there at the buzzer. If this team were a restaurant, what would they be?
Huh.
I'd say like
Cheesecake
chili
Factory?
Okay, because they're multiple.
Yeah, and the huge menu.
Okay.
A lot of different treats. You got a really fun safety to watch who's an awesome player and just is a straight-up football player. You got the small punt returner who blocks his rear off. It it seems like a great teammate, but it's just a tough bulldog. You got the tall dude. You got a really good quarterback. You've got an all-American caliber running back. Your defensive line has two really good guys in it. This is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to like. You're good at special teams. Some good stuff in there, man. Just like the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay. This segment brought to you by Cheesecake Factory.
And I'll say something, guys, and I know I shouldn't admit this. I don't think I've ever eaten at a Cheesecake Factory. Have you?
I once with Gene and I canvassed on social media. I'm like, hey, we're saying in Buckhead, where should we go have dinner at? And everyone's posting all these suggestions, and we end up going to Cheesecake Factory, and everybody like dunked on me.
Well, they should have, but I am right, but not because there's anything wrong with the Cheesecake Factory. There's just some real nice restaurants in Atlanta. But the menu's huge, right?
It's
like a phone book.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
And what I ordered was so ambitious, and it came out terrible. And I was like some sort of like Jamaican jerk meal with like plantains and like black beans, and it was horrible. And I'm like, well, it's Cheesecake
Factory.
Look,
we love our sponsors. We're not looking for the Cheesecake Factory. We love DeLuna and Corner Pocket. You're not gonna come with your big national chain money and try to buy us. You can try. We'll see where the talks go. We'll see where the negotiations go. I went to a Cheesecake Factory actually to get cheesecake.
Okay.
So I have been there. I lied. I forgot. That's why I know the menu was so big. Because I think I went in there and I thought it was just a dessert place.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, this menu's this big for desserts? And of course, no, I see the sizzling fajitas and the whatever else, the burgers.
Yeah. I thought the cheesecake was actually overrated too, but I don't want to keep. But people love Cheesecake Factory, love it, appreciate it. I love this. On the way out, Drill Sergeant Porter tagged us in a thread. It's titled "Ready for Black Friday" on the Tribal Council. Normally, I fry some gator nuggets or tenders for the game against that team, but this year, I will be supplying the meat for the game because I was able to kill my first gator.
Oh.
Aslan can appreciate this with his gator hatred. I will have tenders and sausage. Very poetic. Happy early Thanksgiving, go Noles. And there's a photo of him on top of a dead gator. And it's
Are you allowed
big.
to, and forgive my ignorance, but I guess you're allowed to hunt and kill gators?
He lives in Florida these days, though, our guy Drill Sergeant Porter. So I would figure you couldn't in the state of Florida, but I don't know what other states have gators. Like, does Texas have gators in their ponds?
I think South Carolina has them, right?
Yeah, they're not just in Florida alone. I get it, I understand. But
I guess you're allowed to. I mean, they're an animal, right? You could. I guess if you have a permit, you could kill them. But hey, man, that sounds great. I've had gator before. It's good. And I don't care if you kill a gator. Well, just don't kill the turtles, gang.
Let's see here. In Florida, alligators can only be killed if deemed a nuisance by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. There's a statute. A person may not intentionally kill, injure, possess, or capture, or attempt to kill, injure, possess, or capture an alligator or other crocodilian, or the eggs of an alligator or other crocodilian unless authorized by the rules of the commission. So
we're going to assume that Drill Sergeant Porter had authorization. Yes. And if not, you need to lay low for a while, man. Just don't post any more pictures. Maybe scrub your social media. Corey and I'll be back live tonight at 6 o'clock doing this show for you folks. Not this exact one. That would be weird if we did it all over again. But we're going to do a show, but it's going to be live. Taking questions. Well, I meant to say real quick, shout out to the manatee burgers. That's funny, thinking of alligators. You can't hunt manatee either, Drill Sergeant Porter. Yeah, leave them alone. We don't want to eat manatee. But that's their trivia name. And I got to trivia. Well, I didn't even get to trivia in time, but I got there afterwards. And one of the guys had his friend come over, and she's a very nice woman. And she says, "Hey, are you Corey Clark?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes,
right.
"I'm not going to let you kiss my baby." And I thought that was funny. I'm like, good. I don't want to kiss your baby.
Oh, man. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.